This is the third video in the FreeBSD series. In the first video, I showed you how to install a command line capable FreeBSD. It's still quite powerful, but doesn't have a GUI. In the second video, I showed you how to install Xorg, the X window system, along with Firefox, and showed you how that worked with the TWM manager, window manager that comes by default. And I also showed you how to install and use Lumina. In this video, we're going to do Plasma, which is my preferred, if you're going to have a full-blown Windows environment, it's my preferred environment. To do it, we're going to need to have a basin system installed, so either have completed the first video or the second video, or the first one and the second one, or just the first one. What we want to do is get Plasma up and running and working well. We're going to follow this six-step process. We're going to snapshot the VM. We're going to swap the controller for a different one. In case you didn't follow the second video, this is going to be a little bit better video card for our purposes. We're going to check for updates, do those, and we'll set the boot delay to 1 second instead of 10. We'll install everything to configure it and test it, and then we'll snapshot again. So to get started, we're going to start up VirtualBox. And it's going to come up. There's our base instance. We're going to go to snapshots. It's got current state, but we're going to take a baseline at this point, so we can revert back to this if we need to. So I call it baseline. We're running in current state, but the baseline's there in case we need to revert. Next up, we're going to change the video card. Right now it's VM-SVGA, which is the default graphics controller for VirtualBox as it's delivered now, I guess. It has some tricky bits. So we're going to pick this one called VBox SVGA. It's going to tell us that the settings are invalid, but if we read, it's going to say that it's configured to use one other than the recommended one. Please consider switching, unless you have a reason. Well, we have a reason. We like our resize and stuff like that to work in VirtualBox. We're going to pick this one. So I'm going to say OK to that, and I'm going to fire it up. While it's coming up, I'm going to start up a terminal window as well and prepare to log into it via SSH. It's got the 10-second countdown timer. I'm going to hit enter. It's going to go on with its business. And when it gets to the login prompt, I'm going to move things around a little bit so we can see it better. But when it says login over here, we'll be able to use SSH over here. All right, there we go. Logs in. May prompt you for your password. We're going to check for updates now. We want to become root because you can't do much without being root in this administrative capacity. And we're going to get the updates. So first we'll check to see what level of update we're at now. We're on patch level 7 if you followed the video, prior video. And so, but I happen to know that we got updates today. 1 day later, FreeBSD update, fetch, and install. And when this is done, we'll be at patch level 8. There's no need to reboot unless it tells you you need to reboot, as I'll show you in a moment. It's going to go get the metadata, check it against our system, tell us what it's going to be, what it's going to need to do. It's getting 36 patches that it thinks it needs. It gets them. Doesn't take too long. This is a little slow, but that's okay. Not that many of them. And then it's going to say it's applying, but it's really just checking them. Technically, it might be preparing them for application. I'm not entirely sure of that, but anyway, it's telling us that it's going to go to P8 and that there are 36 files changed. Effectively, there they are. We can look through them. SQLite is the main thing. Hit Q when you're done. It'll install them. Actually apply the updates. All right, it's done. If I check my uname, it still says I'm on FreeBSD release P7, but if I check my version for the kernel and the userland, they're both upgraded to P8. So we're good to go with that. We'll check package updates, make sure that we don't need sudo because we're as root. package update, and then if that's successful, let's do an upgrade. And let's not prompt. There shouldn't really be anything. There we go, and it's not, there isn't. All right, we're going to reduce the boot delay next. And to do that, we're going to edit the bootloader comp file. So if we cat it to see what's in there, there shouldn't be anything. There isn't. So to put something in there, we have to know what to put in there first. So let's take a look. In the defaults, loader.conf, are there any settings we can set? Oh, way too many. So we're going to look for a boot parameter, grab boot in there. There's a few things. Too many things, looks like. So we're going to cheat a little. We're going to look for auto. And there's the auto boot delay right there. So we're going to grab this into the clipboard so we can copy it in a second here. And we're going to use a program called sysrc, which is a safer way to edit your RC-conf files. Sysrc, and then the name of the parameter, because it defaults to the etc rc-conf file, so we have to tell it to use the boot/loader.conf file. And then the parameter we want to change and its value. There it goes, and it changed it from nothing to 1. And if we cat the file now, it shows that it is in there, which is good. So the next thing to do is to install the packages we're interested in. We're already root, so we can just plow forward. If you haven't installed Xorg, then now's the time to do it. You type package install Xorg. If you've already done it, you can leave that out of there. But everything else we're going to need. KDE5, that's Plasma. SDDM is a login manager for the graphical environment. You don't have to use it. It's just going to make it easier. If we're going to start a console, may as well have it be graphical. Plasma 5-SDDM/KCM is some KDE specific piece of SDDM. Makes it prettier or something, I don't know. And then Firefox, if you haven't already installed it, let's go ahead and get it. So that's our command line. If you've already installed Xorg, don't put it in there, but otherwise package install Xorg, KDE5 for the Plasma, SDDM for a login manager that works, Plasma 5-SDDM KCM, it's a plugin for Plasma to the SDDM system, and Firefox. Hit enter. It's going to take a while. I will rejoin you in a moment. I'm not going to wait for it to download all this. It's going to take a little while. So I'm going to pause the video and we'll come back momentarily. And we're back. It took a good 25 minutes or so to get the packages downloaded and installed. So now we're up to configuring it. There's only a few little RC-conf changes we need to make and then we can reboot. We need to enable dbus. We need to enable HALD. That's the thing we do. And we need to enable SDDM to get the graphical login. I'm just going to paste them in here. We're in a root prompt. We're SSH10. We made the changes from nothing to yes, nothing to yes, and nothing to yes. Life is good. That's pretty much it. But we're also going to change our exonet file. So we're going to exit the root shell. We're back in our user home shell. We're going to VI the home directory .exonetrc. And I don't have one, but if you have one, you can either save it off and overwrite it, or you can just overwrite it. We're going to exec user local bin start Plasma X11, which it may have told us in here somewhere. I don't know. Let's see. Maybe somewhere in that long list of output, but whatever. We can look for, we can find / from the root -name plasma star plasma star, just to see what's out there. Dash add dash print. Sorry, that's v6, but whatever. Lots and lots of files, but we want to look for something called start, so we'll just grep for start. Wow, that's a lot of trash. Maybe just take my word for it. Here it is. Okay. Not the easiest thing to figure out, but if you read the docs, it'll probably tell you that. But that's what we're going to need regardless. So now I'm going to shut down and reboot, sudo reboot. Nobody else using the system. Boots me out of my SSH session and restarts the console. This time when the console starts, it should fire up KDE right off the bat, but we'll see after it gets through loading. It's got our 1 second delay. Comes to the login prompt. Maybe pause for half second or something, and then boots right into KDE in all its glory. And it'll take a sec first time. Well, it didn't take long. But there it is, KDE, the login prompt asking me to log in. I log in eventually with my password. And maybe this part takes a sec. Okay, well anyway, it's gonna initialize my desktop with some default settings, panels, that sort of thing. And eventually it will start up. On future logins, it shouldn't take so long. And I think it's done. The issue here is with respect to my scale of the screen. So yeah, we're great. So we can go in here, start using stuff. Conqueror is the browser that KDE has. Dolphin is its file manager. Kate's the editor. Firefox is probably in here because we installed it, so we can either hunt for it, if I can spell it. We can then do stuff like add it to the panel and stuff. I noticed something when I logged in here, which is we haven't installed VirtualBox Guest Edition, so we're going to do that now. We'll just pull up a terminal. KConsole, and we might be able to get there with a right click, I don't remember. But once we've started one, we can pin it to the desktop or whatever we want to do. Pin to the task manager, that's fine. That way it'll always be there. And then scroll up, sorry about the scale of the desktop. It has to do with the video recording. So, all right, there we go. We're in Xterm. We're logged in as a regular user. We're going to become root, package, install, come with window over so I can see what's going on. Yep, gonna need another note. Sorry about that. There we go. Package install VirtualBox OSE editions is what we're going to use. So package, oops, we'll do a search first so we know what it is. Use our mouse. There's VirtualBox and the editions are the ones we want. So we'll snag that into our clipboard. Shift Control C will do it as well. And then we're going to go package install and paste, which is Shift Control V. Box OSE editions, sure enough. Dbus is already enabled, otherwise we'd have to enable it. And then we're going to make a couple of changes to the sysrc, that's the RC file. Sysrc, VBox, guest, enable, equal quote yes, and sysrc VBox service enable equals yes. All right, and that's good enough for government work. We enabled both of those. So we'll reboot. We'll do it not from the command line this time. We'll do it from KDE. So we go to this little widget down here, the menu, and we leave. Since I'm operator, I can do restart, so I'm going to restart. It'll give you time if you need it. I just said okay. There it goes. I'll add these into the note. Okay, so now when we move the mouse, it goes between. It works in here, and it works over here. So that's the beauty of the guest editions. So at this point, I could log in again, but there's really no point, so I'm going to shut it down. And it's not going to prompt me or anything. It's just going to power off the machine. We have KDE working, we have VirtualBox guest editions working, and all kinds of other stuff. Probably sound is working. You can play with it to your heart's content. I'm going to go in here and check my snapshots. I'm going to take another one. We're going to call it post KDE or post Plasma. It's probably a little bit more accurate. All right, and we now have a baseline instance and a post Plasma snapshot, so we can get back to either of those two states. And then there's the current state as well. That's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave questions in the comments or whatever you need, and I will post the script as well. Thanks. Bye.